Welcome to the Leadership Bits and Bytes podcast, featuring Rhoda Kreuzer, CEO of Partners in Action.
Good morning. It's exciting to be back with West Michigan and talking about Leadership Bits and Bytes, which is our podcast in the way that we help share best practices with leaders across West Michigan and beyond, and telling stories of how entrepreneurs are being successful. We find that there's a lot of wisdom out there, and we want to tap into it and share that with people. So this morning, I am pleased to introduce Jessica Crosby, who is going to be our guest. She is the owner and one of the designers at Delight in Designs. And so, Jessica, welcome to you this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here and share our story and answer all the questions you have.
Well, there certainly are a lot. So tell me, what drew you into the world of design?
So I have always had a passion for design. I actually created my logo probably 15 years ago, but just opened 5 years ago. But it was really in conversation with my husband. I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And my first chapter of my life, I traveled the country with my career with cable company. And while that was a very rewarding career, when you're diagnosed with breast cancer, you kind of reevaluate and start to think about maybe this traveling thing isn't for me and I need to stay home a little bit more. So my husband and I just kind of developed the what ifs, like what if, and started dreaming, and I kept nudging him a little bit, and what if we did this, and what if we did that, and so one thing led to another, and in 2019, me and my daughter-in-law, who's also my business partner, filed our LLC, and we opened our doors March of 2019, and haven't regretted it. We haven't looked back, and it's been a fun journey.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And how fun that you can share that with your daughter-in-law.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully she says the same thing. But yes, I love it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Tell me a little bit more about what you do at Delight in Designs.
Sure. No, that's okay. So at Delight in Designs, we are really a one-stop shop. And what I mean by that is you can come in and talk to us about getting bar stools, or you can talk to us about a full gut renovation for your entire home. And the beauty in that is at Delight in Designs, we have a design center where you can select flooring, you can select paint colors, cabinetry, carpet, tile, anything and everything that you would want for your home. We have the designers that can design it, but really what is the secret sauce is we also have the builders W-2 to us, they're not subcontracted out, so that they can execute the plan that we design. So West Michigan is really, really loving the concept, especially for those dual income, everybody's working, everybody's busy, taking their kids to football and that kind of thing. And they just like the fact that, oh my gosh, we just have to call Delight in Designs, press a button, an easy button, and the magic happens.
Yeah. So walk us through a little bit. If I come in and maybe I have an idea, maybe I just think it's time for that fresh look, but I don't really have anything beyond that. And admittedly, for a number of us, I won't say how many, but myself probably included, we may not have that gift that you have in terms of selecting things. So how do you go about helping us get from that point to, where we're like, oh, this is
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you are not alone. You're kind of our perfect client. There are so many that come to us and say, where in the heck do I even get started? It's so overwhelming, so many choices and options.
Yes.
I always kind of use the line, there's 2,000 colors of white. So how do you select the right white? So with that, we really make the process seamless. You would start by talking to one of our designers. Our designers comes to your home and does what we call soft measurements. And very much like you see on HDTV, they will do a rendering of your space so you get to see it on a big TV screen. And what's pivotal about a designer and so imperative is not only do they narrow options of the pretty, so they will take those 2,000 colors of white and narrow it down to three. So then you're
Right.
just, the world is a little bit more easier. But it's the knowledge that designers have. And that's probably one of my biggest aha moments is that you think designers just pick out window treatments and colors of paint, but there's so much more behind the drywall that goes on that designers have to know where the blocking goes to hang the curtain rod or
Right.
what venting needs to be behind the range hood. So I always think that industry, excuse me, doesn't get the recognition it deserves because there's so much more to it than just picking the pretty.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. And, I'm amazed that there always seems to be a new trend around the corner, a new favorite color that everyone is picking or, a new type of appliance. And so I'm sure there's a lot of education, continuing education that you have to keep up on just to understand all that.
yeah, for sure. We are lucky here in West Michigan. There's a chapter of National Kitchen and Bath. There's a West Michigan chapter. So if you're active in that, they give
Yeah.
out credits to stay very current on not just the trends, but also, building codes change. There's things,
Right.
again, kind of behind the pretty that happen that you need to be aware of. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that is great. You've talked a little bit about your team, and I know you have a team of people who work with you. Talk to me about the journey of going from maybe where you started and what it was like adding people to your team and building that out.
Yeah, I would like to say I have a magic formula, and I think I do. You know, I think a good organization is only as good as the people that you hire. And I know from my leadership development role at Comcast that if you surround yourself with people better than you, you're sure to be successful. So I make sure I do that. My interviewing, when I interview or seek to hire somebody, I'm always looking for somebody that is offering diversity to my team so that we get different perspectives. And then also offering I kind of the knowledge base, I guess. So, there is a lot to design, but there's also a lot to construction. So if I get a gentleman or a lady in the construction side that says they know it all, I know that's actually not a good fit because there's
Right.
so much to know and there's
Oh.
no way you could possibly know it all.
Yeah.
So if they say their specialty is drywall, that actually I tune in a little bit better to that.
Right.
And if I have a need for a drywaller, that makes sense. So
Yeah, absolutely. And so as a leader, how do you apply those same concepts to your leading the team in terms of not knowing it all, or how do you continue that journey?
Yeah, so at Delight and Designs, we have a team meeting weekly. And that team meeting is not about Jessica getting up and and this is what's going to happen. It really is a collaborative effort. We have subject matter experts, so they take a role and contribute every week on what they might have learned or what they want to bring to the table. We talk about projects, we talk about best practices, and we also talk about what didn't work. And so as we talk about those what didn't work situations, how do we get through it? So next time we learn from our mistakes and try to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, which is great, especially when you can review that with the team so that everyone can learn from it.
Right.
And then, as you said, be prepared because those situations will come up again where someone wants a fountain in their living room or,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
it is that most of us would go, why would you want that?
Right,
But,
right.
to someone it makes sense.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. How do you have those difficult conversations? It could be with a client, it could be with a team member, but there are just things that happen again many times outside your control where something goes over budget. With supply chain issues, that's been a huge challenge for many people. It could be just a number of things, and so I'm curious what your approach is to having those.
One of the things I think I pride myself on is, and this is, whether it's a gift or whether it's just kind of me being impatient, could be a combination of the two. but I always take care of the difficult first.
Mm.
So if I see, I recently read the book, Eat Your Frog. Do you know that book?
I have not read it, but I've
It's a
heard
good
of it.
one. It's
Yeah.
a good one. But basically, the nut of it is take care of your problems or your difficult conversations first and get those out of the way. So the rest of your day can be sunshines and unicorns, right? But I think in having those difficult conversations, whether it's with a client or with an employee, to get it out of the way, make sure that communication is key in every relationship. So make sure that they're heard and they felt listened to, and then move on and hopefully to a better, prosperous relationship.
That's awesome. What have you found along the way? Maybe things you've learned that you wish you had known at the beginning. You know, the things you're like, oh, okay, that's a gold nugget that you've held on to.
One of the pivotal positions at Delight and Designs is our project manager, and I had a gentleman. I probably should apologize to him, actually. I had a gentleman working for me for about a year before I offered the position to him. In the meantime, I had tried 2 different project managers, not really seeing the value he brought. His name's Chris, that he brought to Delight and Designs in a way that I should have.
Yeah.
Instead, I kept thinking, because he was a construction person, I kind of put him in that box.
Yeah.
And when the position came open the 3rd time, because the other 2 hadn't worked out, and he expressed interest, and it was an aha moment. And I think looking back, that's the one thing I could have probably advanced my business a year sooner had I taken myself a little bit out of it and looked at him as a project manager instead of putting him in a box. So I would say be careful of putting people in a box.
Yeah, that's great advice. Easy to do when you're busy and so forth. How do you ensure that you have those the right priorities in your calendar? Because for a lot of us, we're running our business, but we have clients that we're meeting with, and we have employees, and the list goes on. And so I'm just curious, what is it that you've found works for you in terms of managing all of that?
I wish I had the magic button. There's so many. I recently just took a course about color coordinating your calendar and putting priorities first. And I wish I had that magic, antidote, I guess, because I know a lot of leaders struggle with that. You get pulled into the day-to-day, and I will say I think the most important word as a leader is the word no, and learn that word no, and be able to say no to things that are frankly, selfishly aren't going to advance your business. And you get pulled, as a small business owner, you get pulled into doing a lot for charities or doing so much, and you want to say yes to it all, but you've got to be strategic in what you say yes to.
Yeah. Very, very good advice.
Thank you.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you this morning.
You too.
I would love to know if our listeners are interested in finding out more, where could they reach you?
I would love to share that. So we are Delight and Designs. Probably the easiest way is through our website, www.delightanddesigns.com. We do also have a storefront that is super, super fun. It's decorated for Christmas, big time right now. And that is 5430 Northland Drive, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
That is great. I have to smile when you talk about Christmas. It seems like it's a long way away, but I know it's right around the corner.
Right.
So, well, thank you again for joining us this morning, for talking about your success story and sharing a little bit about leadership. Hopefully, this will be a great way in which other leaders can benefit and take some tips back to their work with them as well.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome.